Well, I guess the only question is, what do actual sales, with that, my perspective or my experience being what it is, what does actual sales look like? It's very broad, but
It's going to vary across industry, product, like inside versus outside sales.
okay, so let's go B2B.
B2B. I'll give just a brief rundown if you're curious. I do B2B inside sales. I sell marketing lists to businesses. A standard sales cycle is generally about 2 weeks for me. I get my lead, however that may be. I call them up, get them on the phone. They're interested. They want this. I go through the product, what they're looking for, where we fit in, whether they're looking for emails, build their list out, whatever that may be. Send a quote to them. Then it's just a follow-up schedule of, it's a lot of follow-up for me of like sending out the initial quote and just like staying in touch until we get stuff approved. It's really not the most entertaining sale. There's no demo for me or anything. There's nothing like that. It's the initial call most of the time, maybe one follow-up call, emails following up, and then one call to close the deal. And that all takes about 2 weeks. That's the standard sale I make.
Cool.
Yeah, and mine's different. So I work in SaaS, and basically an inbound demo request comes in, and then I schedule the call with them to do the demo. The demo goes well, it fits their needs, then we follow up. I start them on a 1-month free trial, right? So right off the bat, totally different sales cycle, totally different ball game from Ben.
Yeah.
Ben is cold calling and sourcing his leads on his own, whereas mine come inbound warm to me from a marketing team that's already attracted the interest. So that's one huge difference when you're going into a sales job. You know, are you going to be doing cold calling, or are leads going to be handed to you on a silver platter? And honestly, what I would recommend to anyone that's looking to get into sales for the first time, go to a company where you have to do cold calling and literally hunt for what you kill, because you will be a much stronger, much more deadly, much more persuasive, confident, badass salesperson if you've gone through the hurdles of multiple failures of getting rejected dozens and dozens of times. And once you learn to weather that rejection and you realize that rejection isn't something that's going to harm you in any way, shape, or form, but you can't learn it intellectually, you have to experience it and then survive and then improve and then get over it. That's a superpower that stays with you pretty much for the rest of your life. So I always recommend, start at a place where you have to actually go hunting. But then to continue, fairly straightforward. Once they've completed the free trial, it's following up a few times. They'll usually send some number of questions over. I've started using videos to answer questions about the product. So I'll record like a 30-second video showing them the feature or whatever it is that they're lacking or missing, send that over to them, a few more follow-ups, and then just like Ben said, come up to the end of the trial, you call them up, close the deal.
Nice. Right on.
I can give the perspective of sales from like selling myself as a freelancer, like as a freelance copywriter. I've built up most of my sales in my client base from both referrals and from going to live events. So totally outside of like cold calling or cold emailing and stuff like that. I'll basically, the way that I've built my whole business is by shelling out money to go to the right events or to make contact with the right people that know my dream clients, or to go to events where my dream clients are going to be. So that's a lot of relationship building, right? Like that's being able to go to an event and talk to people, or being able to ask for referrals from people that you know or that you have connections with. And from a standpoint of like going to an event, there's no real like sales cycle to it, because some people you meet are going to be able to hire you right away, and some people are going to be like, oh, well, we don't have any big projects coming up for a few months. So it's kind of all over the place, but that's part of like what you have to learn. You have to learn how to look for the right person in that type of sales environment, which is all types of sales environment. You have to look for the right prospect. But yeah, so that's like my side of things is, I went to an event, and we talked about this on the call last week, was I went to an event down in Washington, D.C., and didn't even realize, but I had met the copy chief from this $40 million health publishing company that I now work for and pays me very, very good money to be there. So totally different, avenue of sales that a lot of people don't really think about so much, but it's basically just relationship building and becoming friends with people and then asking those friends for things while also, you can't just ask, obviously. You can't just ask people for things all the time. There has to be some sort of like relationship there, whether that's a financial thing, or just like, I'll go out of my way to do a lot of things for the connections that I make, whether it's simply, for example, one of my first mentors, right? His wife is pregnant for the first time, so he's going to be a dad. So I'll commonly like text him or something like that and say like, hey, parenting tip that I just learned yesterday or whatever. Like just adding value into his life for something that's personal to him. So that creates that relationship, that builds that rapport, so that later on, if I want something from him, I can go to him and it doesn't feel like a one-sided ask. It's more of just like a, hey, we're friends, whatever, I'm looking for this. Do you know anybody that fits that? If so, awesome. Would you mind connecting them to me? So that's how I built my business. And that's how I've that's how I never was in the rut of the freelancer that has to take on shit clients for no money. I started out building my client base from referrals, so I automatically commanded more fees, higher fees. So that's what I got.
Yeah, it's really cool that sales has infinite different applications. So we just literally answered your question in three pretty radically different ways, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was great.
Yeah. And so that kind of sheds light on why we all here advocate go into sales first. Sales is going to help you become more successful in every single relationship and every single career venue that you pursue for the rest of your life. So Jared's a copywriter now, but he's quickly rising in his career as a copywriter far faster than 90+% of people do because he's got great sales experience.
And I found if I wanted to do cold calling, I could do that to build my career as well. But I think one of the great things about sales and the whole fact that there's so many different applications to it is that you can find what you're good at and you can really lean into it, right? Like, I don't want to send cold emails and I don't want to make cold calls. So I get to build my business in a way that I love, which is building relationships with people and making friends. Like, that's how I feel comfortable in sales. So it would be detrimental to me if I tried getting myself to do something that I didn't like, that I've done before, not like I didn't give it its fair shake. It wasn't me. This is me. So that's one of the great things about going into sales and having that experience is you can learn what you're really good at and what you like to do. And when you find what you like to do, then your career is easy because things don't become work.
Yeah. And the cool thing too is that can actually happen fairly quickly inside of your sales career, because once you've changed jobs a couple of times, maybe, and you've gotten the feel for, okay, I hate outside sales, door-to-door sales. That sucks. I'm not going to do that. So then you try something along the lines of an inside sales cold calling, and you're in an SDR position because, brand new, that's the entry level. And you go, okay, this is kind of interesting. I like this. But I want to try being an account executive. So you stick there for like a year, and then now you're an account executive and you go, holy shit, I've hit my stride. This is really cool. You might work there for 3 to 5 years and then realize like, man, the direction of the company kind of isn't going where I want it to be. I really love the people here, but I just feel like I could do better for myself. Well, if you've done well in your sales career, the door is wide open for you to literally go and work anywhere that you want. People are hungry for top closers. I'm trying to hire 2 right now, and it will prove to be difficult because top closers are rare. They're very well paid. And there's a reason why the top performing sales executives in any type of company not sales executives, meaning VP of sales. I mean like account executives, like mid-level, low-level people. They tend to make more than directors in virtually every other department because it's a high-value skill. It's very high demand. So if you're competent in that particular arena, not only do you gain superpowers in other areas of your life, you'll also be in the top 1% of income earners. And there's not many other career paths where at the entry roles, you can get that kind of income velocity in your life.
Yeah.